I ran into my ex-boyfriend in the elevator. He was taken aback, lifting his eyelids to look at me. Your daughter? It was obvious that the little pink bundle in my arms looked like a smaller version of me. Nodding, she lowered her gaze, not daring to look at him. The elevator stopped, and many people squeezed in. He turned sideways, his tall figure creating a small corner. Just enough to protect me and my daughter within it. I whispered, "Thank you." I don't know if it was an illusion, but that gaze was fixed on me, inscrutable. I felt a chill in my heart from being watched. After exiting the elevator, Mia pointed behind her, "Uncle." I turned around, and there he was. What was he doing here? This floor is for pediatrics. He walked straight towards me, a man with a child? I was baffled and turned to leave. He walked backward, still staring at me. I just happen to be free and can help. He pointed at Mia, and I held her. No need. I refused. I didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore. I walked past him and continued on. When we arrived at the department, the doctor looked at him behind me and asked, "Is he your husband?" "No," I replied calmly. "Oh." The doctor didn't ask again, lowered his head to write the medical record. "It's too cold, don't take the child to work anymore, they need to rest at home. If it develops into pneumonia, hospitalization will be the only option," the doctor admonished. I nodded in agreement, my gaze catching sight of his clenched fist, as if he were holding back his anger. The medicine was taken on the first floor, and I would come back for a follow-up tomorrow. I held Mia, ready to leave. He stood in front of me, taking the child to work. "He died?" A bit fierce, Mia looked at him with her wet eyes. "Uncle." He rubbed his brow, softened his tone as he looked at Mia. "Uncle is strong, can I hold you? When the baby is better, Uncle will buy you lots and lots of dolls, okay?" His way of coaxing was still as charming as it used to be. "I'm sick and don't want to take medicine." He patiently coaxed with a cup of water. "Good boy, taking medicine will make you better quickly. Once you're well, I'll give you a kiss." So annoying, I ignored him under the blanket. He pulled the blanket off and kissed me. "Is this enough for now?" When I was ready, he got caught and ran away. I called him and laughed. "I have immunity, why should I be afraid of catching a cold again?" His voice was hoarse, but he was stubborn. "I can take care of myself, don't worry about me." After 3 years of being able to break up, he and I have long become a thing of the past. I heard that he took over the family business, and his achievements are astonishing. I heard he is having a strong marriage and will marry his fiancée next month. It makes my heart ache, but none of this has anything to do with me. Mia looked at me, then at him, stretched out her hand. "Mommy is tired, Uncle hug." With a gentle touch, I looked at Mia resting on his shoulder, wanting to cry. "Mom isn't tired. Be good, Mom will hold you." I held back my emotions and softly comforted her. "Uncle will soon marry another woman and even have children. I don't want to have any more entanglements with him." He didn't look at me again and quickly walked away with Mia in one arm. I followed with my bag on my back. Arriving at the infusion room, the medicine was brought, and I queued to register. The nurse came over with a tray. Mia pouted, and crystal tears silently rolled down. He wiped away Mia's tears. "Close your eyes, it will be better soon." He said to the nurse, "Please be gentle, the child is afraid of pain." His voice was deep and melodious like a cello. A pair of jet black eyes like jade looked at the little nurse, carrying a hint of pleading. The little nurse trembled slightly, her face flushed as she replied, "All right." After administering the 4, the young nurse mustered her courage and, undeterred, asked, "Your daughter?" Xander glanced at me. I turned my head to look elsewhere. I only heard him quickly hum in response and thank the little nurse. Liquid dripped slowly, and Mia slept in his arms. After taking her temperature, I finally breathed a sigh of relief. A wave of fatigue washed over me as I heard him ask, "What about him?" He seemed to grit his teeth, lowering his voice. "Who?" My consciousness was a bit hazy, and I mechanically asked back. I didn't hear what he said next. Instead, in my dream, I felt a slap that left half of my face numb. When I woke up, I touched my face. That slap in the dream felt so real. Even my heart ached in response. The person who hit me in my dream was my mom. I had just started dating Xander, and my mom somehow found out that he was wealthy. She smiled and told me to hold on tight. But when she heard that my boyfriend's last name is G, she grabbed my wrist hard enough to draw blood. G? Bring him back for me to see. Seeing Xander, my emotions spiraled out of control again, breaking up with him, never seeing him again, or I'll die for you. My mom losing control wasn't the first time, so I ignored her. Later, she went mad, and I personally took her to the sanatorium. After taking care of my mom, Mr. Yen, Xander's mother, arranged to meet me. She looked at me with a contemptuous gaze, sizing me up, just as vain as your mother, only wanting money. Does the lofty Ms. Yen even know my mom? The fig leaf was torn away, and I pretended to be calm, but my hands couldn't stop shaking. You want to use money to get rid of me? Ms. Yen laughed. Do you think you're worthy? The next words hit me hard. She said, your mother can't win against me, so she sent you to seduce my son? However, you two mother and daughter are really foolish, following one after another. The father and son share the same temperament, serious in love, making solemn vows, but turning around and forgetting you. There's nothing to talk about, I'm turning to leave. The G family's fortune, I won't let you, this illegitimate child, fight for it. She goes crazy, just like my mom. Illegitimate child? Fighting over inheritance? I feel a bit bewildered. Amidst the chaos, a scene of a neighbor aunt comforting my mom flashes through my mind, as clear as lightning streaking across the night sky. There's no sense of justice, it's a daughter who is abandoned. No matter what, she is still of the G family bloodline. My mother only cried, keeping her head down and saying nothing. At that time, the young me vaguely understood, my mom had been abandoned, and the neighbor aunt advised her to let it go. Is it really like that? I returned to the hotel in a daze. Last night was the second anniversary of our relationship, and we booked a hotel room. Substantial developments, blushing and racing hearts. At this moment, however, it feels shameful and frightening. Standing at the door, wanting to escape. The door opened, and a woman came out in a bathrobe. Xander's childhood friend, Una. The two families are noble families, and there is a marriage contract. Xander said that it was a childhood engagement set as a joke by the family, and he agreed with Una to just be friends. You all. I stared at Xander. Xander had said that he wouldn't remember everything that happened while he was drunk after he sobered up. Last night, I curiously wanted to verify his words. I coaxed him into drinking red wine, and after this and that, he really didn't remember anything? Just thinking about it is quite amusing. I just didn't expect that when I woke up to meet his mother, Una appeared at the hotel. She was still wearing a bathrobe. Xander was also wearing a bathrobe. Xander glanced at me, instinctively tightening the bath towel around myself. I was desperate and was about to leave. Xander hurriedly grabbed my arm, a faint blush at the corners of his eyes, and explained, No. Daphne, do you trust me? Really not? I turned back and pulled open his bathrobe to reveal his collarbone. Last night he was crazy endlessly, and I punished him by biting his shoulder. There were clear bite marks visible on it. Xander was having a great time. I sneered. Xander was shocked, desperately trying to remember. No. Xander, you're dirty, I don't want you. I don't want to stay for even a second. My mind is filled with Ms. Yan's words, the wild child of the G family. Xander was gripping my wrist tightly. My heart ached. It wasn't supposed to be like this. My resolute expression made Xander panic. I used all my strength to bite down on his wrist bone. Until a taste of rust filled my mouth. Xander seemed to feel no pain, pleading softly, Don't abandon me. After a minute of stalemate, he still wouldn't let go. You let go, and I'll listen to you. I took a deep breath to calm my emotions. Not leaving? He needed assurance. I nodded. Seeing his disbelief, I added, I'm not leaving. Xander secretly breathed a sigh of relief, but the next second, I broke free and turned to leave. My aimless domestic travels have led to many people calling me. They are all mutual friends of Xander and me. They all told me, Xander is looking for you, even a bit mad. Unable to bear the worry, I simply threw away my phone. 8 months later, I appeared before everyone, arm in arm with Henry. Henry, whom I met during the journey, was a bright and cheerful boy, his smile as radiant as the morning sun. Everyone looked at my appearance, and the atmosphere froze for several seconds. Eyes turned to my protruding belly. Who in the circle doesn't know Xander, the next heir of the G family, handsome and wealthy? Dating him brings countless admiration and jealousy. Brother, I didn't expect you to be so devoted, only loving Daphne, not even glancing at other women. Because of this, my girlfriend keeps saying she wants to learn from you how to be a boyfriend. You've become the model boyfriend, and we're all out of options. There are also those who grit their teeth in hatred, waiting for the breakup. How could someone like her climb up to the G family? Is her ancestral grave smoking? I heard her mother went out to sell herself. How could she possibly be any good? She's probably all rotten by now. The match is inappropriate, I bet 100,000, and we'll break up next month. The atmosphere froze for a few seconds, but soon became lively again. Someone signaled with their eyes, see, I won, hurry and transfer the money, 100,000. Laughter and scolding echoed continuously, take it easy, don't use too much force or it will break. Don't dawdle, hurry up and turn, wait until Xander comes, you'll be in for a show. I can't wait for us to break up, the girl waiting to take my place must be smiling ear to ear, her new boyfriend is so handsome, she must be so happy. The inquisitive gaze scrutinized, still slim, despite being pregnant, how many months along? I smiled and said aloud, 5 months, the baby is very well behaved, not a bit fussy, I'm guessing it's a girl. I caressed my swollen belly, a face full of happiness. The private room fell silent in an instant. Sensing something unusual, my whole body stiffened. Turning around, Xander stood at the door. The high-end suit was wrinkled, the spirit exhausted with dark circles under the eyes, exuding a gloomy aura. 3 parts human, 7 parts ghost. Everyone hurriedly took their leave, citing various matters. Henry sat there with a stiff upper lip, his voice trembling, sister, let's go. I stood up, and Xander suddenly pushed Henry out the door. The room fell into an eerie silence. His gaze sent shivers down my spine. I looked past him, my hand on the doorknob, intending to open the door and leave. The door was slammed shut again. Xander leaned closer, anger in his eyes. Daphne, how dare you? You were the one who wronged me first. This sentence seemed to crush him. In an instant, I became humble, the corners of my eyes red. You hit me, scolded me, please don't leave me. I've had enough of the pain of losing you for these 8 months. I can't go back, I'm pregnant with someone else's child. I remind him. I don't care. He roars, let it be born, I'll raise it as my own. I only ask that you don't leave. Don't leave? Face together the deformed child I am about to give birth to? What kind of gaze should the world cast upon us? I originally thought of quietly finding a remote place to give birth to the child. But Xander searched for me everywhere, causing quite a commotion. To prevent him from discovering the child after birth, I asked Henry to pretend to be a family of 3. This way, Xander would stop looking for me. Xander's grip on my shoulder was strong, it hurt. A greater pain came from my abdomen. My heart sank in fear, I was slender, my pregnancy not obvious, but at 8 months, I could give birth at any moment. Enduring the pain, I just wanted to leave quickly. Xander, I've fallen in love with someone else, is that reason enough? I don't believe it, Daphne, don't mess with me, okay? The pain is driving me to the edge, and I crazily grab him, kick him. Xander, I'm begging you, let me go. I don't want to face him, not for a second. As I wished, the world fell into stillness and darkness. When I woke up, I didn't see Xander. Just as I was about to breathe a sigh of relief, Victor walked in. Since I was little, I had been mocked for not having a father's love, and I fantasized that Victor was my dad. He truly played the role of a father. My mom was often not at home, and he brought me meals. At night when I'm scared, he chats with me until I fall asleep. During puberty when I got my period, I looked at my soiled pants, feeling lost. He stroked my head, comforting me not to be nervous. He found a bunch of videos and books to help me learn how to handle it. He even bought a bunch of sanitary pads, saying that the ones he got were good and I should use those in the future. Later, I started dating Xander, and he looked at me silently with a gaze I couldn't understand. I thought he would oppose my being with Xander, just like my mom did. After a long time, he gently pulled me into his arms, his fingers weaving through my hair. I could feel a slight pain from my hair being tugged. He left with a few strands of my hair. He never appeared again. He knew the answer I was looking for. But I didn't dare to ask, pulling the blanket over my head. Victor tucked the blanket around me, exposing my face. Rest easy, you are just experiencing emotional fluctuations. Stay in bed to protect the pregnancy, it's nothing serious. No big deal? Come and comfort me then. Seeing him turn to leave, I grabbed the corner of his clothes and shook my head. He pressed a kiss on my forehead. Be good, I won't leave, I'll stay with you. I insisted on being discharged and refused any examinations. Victor didn't dare to persuade me anymore, afraid I would be upset. The day my water broke, I took out the prepared items and drove to a remote area. I live-streamed Xander and Una's engagement party. A perfect couple, Xander gently placed the wedding ring on Una's finger. The screen was filled with blessings. The screen went black, and Victor called. Shaking, he hung up repeatedly. Through tear-filled eyes, he accidentally answered. Victor's angry voice came through, "Where are you?" It hurts so much, the contractions come one after another. I'm in so much pain that cold sweat is pouring down, and I can hardly make a sound. Victor, are you too afraid to look? The other end of the phone was silent. A few strands of pulled hair, a paternity report. Victor loves my mom, but my mom has fallen for jijaching. Over the years, he has been good to me, holding on to a glimmer of hope. Hope that I am his daughter. I really did a paternity test, I saw it in the drawer. It has a seal, and it hasn't been opened, nor does he dare to come looking for me. If it weren't for that time I fainted, he wouldn't know I was pregnant. He comes to see me every day, finding ways to make me happy. But he has always avoided that topic. Regardless of whether it's true or not, thank you for these years. Whether it was or not, he had carefully nurtured me as I grew up. He would secretly watch me, and when my mom found out, she would scream at him to get lost. I have never understood why my mom doesn't love Victor, who is so good. I guess it doesn't matter, after all, Victor is still good to me. I held the appraisal report, can we open it together? The voice over there pleaded. It no longer mattered, he already had a fiancé, and they would soon get married. He would no longer appear in my life. Memory returns, and I realize belatedly that there are tears on my face. Xander was shocked, his gaze fixed on my face, his expression agitated. Daphne, don't you dare tell me you haven't been doing well all these years? Whether it's good or bad, it doesn't matter anymore. Xander is doing well, you and Una are getting married soon, right? I asked with a smile. As an old classmate, remember to treat me to a drink at the wedding. His tone softened a bit. These, you know all about them? You care quite a lot about me. How could I not know? The people of the motherland all know. The 4-bottle for Mia is finished, so I called the nurse to remove the needle. Xander insisted on taking me back. What? Afraid he would misunderstand? Afraid of whom? It took me several seconds to understand his words, and I responded with a hum. He didn't move, looking at me with a very unpleasant expression. The next second, he picked up Mia and just walked away. Mia obediently lay on his shoulder. I got in the car and hugged Mia. Mia was sick and weak, and she quickly fell asleep after getting in. The car was eerily quiet for a moment. The ringtone broke the silence, and as soon as the call connected, the regional manager's roaring voice leaked out, "Can you come tomorrow? I am the store manager of a tea restaurant, and I had the area manager cover for me for a few days to take care of Mia. The regional manager oversees 5 stores, and he leads a team at the store under my jurisdiction, unable to handle matters at the other stores. The regional manager usually takes good care of me. If he weren't genuinely busy, he wouldn't get angry and rush me to work." I braced myself. "Manager, over there," tried to calm down and sighed, "Daphne, I know it's not easy to be single and take care of Mia. But you know, Lu Ting, who manages the store under my jurisdiction, is also competing for the regional manager position. If you can't handle your family matters and it affects your work, you can only miss out on the regional manager role." I understand." After hanging up the phone, my phone vibrated again. Aunt Jen on the line was full of apologies. Her daughter gave birth 2 weeks early, so she had to leave early. Putting down the phone, I felt Mia's forehead. She still had a bit of a fever. My emotions were a bit on the edge. Life must go on. I am being choked by the neck, moving forward. Crying again? The car stopped by the roadside. Xander's expression was irritable, yet he lowered his voice. "It has nothing to do with you. In the years since we broke up, I often see him. News highlights, financial pages. Even in entertainment gossip, Xander's fiancée makes a splash, occasionally throwing out some dog food. The strong family alliance is precisely what is called a match in social status." The air inside the car was stifling, so I gently placed Mia on the seat and got out. The street was quiet, and I leaned against a street lamp, wanting to smoke a cigarette before getting back in the car. Xander closed the car door and strode over. As he approached, he pinched my chin and kissed me. It was a kiss that barely touched, as light as a feather brushing against the tip of my heart. "Does it have anything to do with me now?" He stared at me and asked. "What do you mean?" I was choked by the smoke. "Did you see the reporter over there?" He gestured for me to look at the shadowy figure. "With my social status, what does it mean to kiss someone on the street? It means they will write whatever they want, and even Mia will be exposed to the public eye." How would they write it? Xander having an affair with a lover, and even having an illegitimate daughter. Illegitimate daughter? I thought of Mia in the car. My face turned pale. "You." He snatched the cigarette from my hand and took a deep drag. "You want to distance yourself from me, not a chance. I have a husband." I braced myself. "So what?" He threw away the cigarette and got into the car. After a sleepless night, his words, "So what?" kept echoing in my ears, tormenting my nerves. What does he really want? He has a fiancée. Just as I was about to fall asleep, the doorbell rang. Last night, I called my best friend, and she agreed to come take care of Mia. "No problem, I'll be there first thing in the morning." My best friend readily agreed. He opened the door, and to my surprise, it was him. Before I could react, he stepped inside. He raised an eyebrow, his gaze sweeping across the room. I slowly came to my senses. "You?" "I'm the new nanny," he said calmly. I, who hadn't slept well, took a few moments to respond until he took out a contract. He grabbed my hand and pressed my fingerprint on it. "Are you crazy? You can easily sign a project worth billions. Can I afford that?" The whole day, the phone was quiet. I didn't receive any calls from Mia crying. After enduring until the end of work, Xander was holding Mia not far away. Mia shouted Mom in his arms. A colleague exclaimed, "Sister, you eat so well. Your husband's face and figure are definitely on par with top celebrities." It is said that Jingli lowered her voice, saying that eating too well should be moderated. Just look at your dark circles, which are clearly the result of excess. Husband? They came to pick me up from work together. I was a bit distracted. "I won't disturb your family of 3, goodbye." My colleague waved goodbye. Xander walked towards me holding Mia. "What's wrong, tired?" "No." I snapped back to reality and reached out to hug Mia. He stopped her. Go back and hug her again, don't tire yourself out. When they returned home, the room was completely refreshed. The clothes that had been carelessly thrown on the sofa were already washed and hung out on the balcony. All the toys scattered on the ground were put away in the box. The takeout box on the coffee table is gone. Even the trash can is spotless. I left you some food, I'll go heat it up. No need, I've eaten at the store. Silence. Mia held the picture book and said, Mom, can you tell me a bedtime story? He squatted down and gently said, how about we let Uncle tell the story today? Mia happily agreed. The light was on in the bedroom, and Xander was sitting on the edge of the bed, telling a story. You are afraid of the dark, but in fact, the night is also afraid of you. I sat quietly on the sofa, listening to the sounds coming from inside. It felt like a dream, something I had longed for, and now that it was real, I doubted whether I was still dreaming. Before long, the sounds gradually stopped, and Xander walked out. Thank you today. This is what I should do. After a pause, he continued, as a nanny. The room was quiet, and my breathing slowed a bit. Have you been here all day? He must be very busy with work, spending the whole day here? He responded and opened the computer, placing it on the coffee table. It seems there is work to be done. His slender, bony fingers glide over the mouse as he gazes down at the screen. I sat on the other side of the sofa, looking at his profile. In the blink of an eye, several years had passed, yet he hadn't changed at all, he still made my heart flutter. The sculpted, smooth lines of the face, beneath the slightly trembling eyelashes, are two bottomless eyes. In the past, these eyes always looked at me with a smile, good boy, give me a kiss. Every time this happens, I gently reach out and tug at his eyelashes. What does a man need such long eyelashes for? Just let me have them. Mia's eyelashes and eyes are just like his. Have you seen enough? The breath is warm and gently fills my nostrils, a magnified face is drawing closer. No. My heart is like an alarm going off, beating wildly. Daphne, could it be that you? He had a faint smile in his eyes, as if he had never forgotten me. Is it obvious? Not wanting him to see through me, I took a moment to compose myself and stood up. It's late, I'll walk you out. The smile faded, and my gaze dimmed little by little. I will go by myself, I will arrive at 6 tomorrow. After he left, I sat for a long time before I regained my composure. The next day, he was right on time. I opened the door for him with dark circles under my eyes. Are you really here? He didn't say a word, calmly took out the bag I usually carry when going out with Mia. He opened it, checked the items inside, and then found a pack of wet wipes to put in. Don't worry, I've done my homework and know how to take care of her. I stared at him. Xander, you don't have to do these things for me. Do what? He asked. This is what a nanny should do, what's the problem? I have checked the medicine bottles I will need later and the items for going out. You can take another look to see if there's anything missing. I didn't bring water, drinking more water helps with reducing fever. He changed the subject, and I took the bag and rummaged through it. He nodded, remembering. Then, before I could react, he entered the kitchen and started making breakfast. The breakfast included egg pancakes, sausages, pumpkin drink, crab roe buns, and boiled broccoli. Mia was eating happily, the milk cereal was delicious, and this one was good too. Xander cast a light glance over, saying that eating milk cereal every day would get boring. Mia seemed to have found a kindred spirit, right, just looking at it makes me want to throw up. Thus, he became the caretaker of our family. I felt that this couldn't go on. Once Mia recovered and could go to kindergarten, I would fire him. Little did he know, he took out a contract with Mia's name scrawled on it. Now Mia is my employer, so firing me is useless. I insisted, Xander, I have a husband, and you have a fiancé. This is not appropriate. He laughed. What about your husband? Is he dead? Don't give me that business trip excuse. I asked Mia once, and she said she hasn't seen her dad since she was little. He stepped closer to me. You still want to deceive me. With nowhere to retreat, his back pressed against the cold wall, his eyes held a scrutinizing gaze. Explain. My silence seemed to infuriate him, and the hands gripping my shoulders tightened forcefully. He forced me to answer. Because of you. I got so angry that I did something. I'm sorry. I chose to apologize, not daring to let him know about Mia. I was afraid he would compete with me. Unable to form a complete sentence, he did not ask further. After a while, he asked, "What are your plans?" Plans? I contacted a housekeeping company and will arrange for someone to come over. What about me? Xander slammed his fist against the wall. Daphne, you never thought of me? I looked at his bleeding hand, alarmed. Xander, you're crazy. Are you crazy? He is completely unconcerned about the blood on his hands. During the days and nights when you weren't here, I was even crazier than I am now. He seems to have fallen into madness. I really want you to feel my pain too. The breath drew near, and he leaned down to kiss me. Fierce, without mercy. Intense hatred. Again and again, I felt the pain. In my struggle, I tasted the metallic sweetness of rest. How does it feel? He asked, gripping my chin. The emotions collapsed in an instant. You thought I wanted to, Xander, you bastard. Do you know how scared I am? Scared that he really is my brother, scared of the strange gazes of the world. Does it mean that when I don't love, my heart doesn't hurt? I pushed him out the door. You leave. He didn't leave, he waited outside the door all night. Daphne, shall we start over? He opened the door and trapped me in the corner he had created. Before me, his eyes were bloodshot, and the corners were damp. Don't forget, you have a fiancé. I reminded him. Is it because of this? He thought for 2 seconds. At that time the Yu family's financial chain had broken, and Una found me, hoping to save the Yu family through marriage. The financially powerful G family could indeed help the Yu family turn the tide. Just the news of the marriage alliance caused Yu family's stock to soar. Seizing the opportunity, the Yu family cashed out, resolving their financial predicament. Xander looked at me with guilt. I was wrong, Daphne. I was also blinded by anger, thinking about provoking you, wondering if I could get you back by my side. Can you wait a little longer? Once I handle this, I will break off the engagement with her. After more than 20 years of cooperation between the two families, the interests involved are complex. If rumors of discord were to arise at this time, one would fear that the crocodiles lurking in the water would pounce to share the spoils. I climbed up his neck with both hands, intertwining them at the back of his head. All right, I trust you. On tiptoe, I took the initiative to kiss him. After getting off work and returning home, I saw Xander opening the suitcase and putting the clothes inside one by one into the wardrobe. I'm back. Wait for me to get ready, it won't take long. What is this? I'm moving in to live with you all. Will it be too much for you? I looked at him. I said we should move to another house, but you disagreed. He kissed me lightly on the corner of my lips, but as long as you are here, even a small house is my blessing. Moving to the house you bought, does that count as keeping a mistress? I'm feeling a bit emotional. I've said it before, we only have a contractual relationship. Once everything is sorted out, can we get married? I'm hungry. I don't want to listen anymore. What's in the kitchen to eat? Xander held Mia. I booked a restaurant to celebrate our reunion. Mia looked at me, then at Xander, and quietly asked, will Uncle Xander be like the other uncles and not come back after a while? Other uncles? Xander's expression was blank, his eyes half lowered to conceal his emotions. As long as your mother doesn't drive me away, I'll always be here. One on the left and one on the right holding Mia, they looked like a happy family of 3 heading to the Western restaurant. Xander was gentle and meticulous, seeing Mia with her mouth full, carefully took a towel to wipe it clean. Just occasionally making eye contact with him, I felt a sense of brokenness in those bottomless eyes. The next moment, he turned his face away and gently asked Mia, do you want to eat this? I'll help you. Until I got home, told Mia a bedtime story, and coaxed her to sleep. I held his arm. Why aren't you happy? Xander took a deep breath. No. Well, I didn't care about him anymore. I took a shower and played on my phone in bed. On the other side, the bed sank as he lifted the blanket and lay down. Then, his hand reached from behind, pulling me into his embrace, firmly trapping me. Knowing that I'm not happy, can't you just comfort me a little? Daphne, am I really not important to you at all? The voice was low and hoarse, both aggrieved and as if accusing. I need to coax you. I paused for a moment, put down my phone, turned around, and gently tapped my fingertip on the tip of my nose. I miss you so much. The light was dim, and the person in front of me slightly curled the corner of their lips, but their face remained tense, not believing me. His hand explored downward. The man let out a muffled groan. I countered, what about you, do you miss me? Very much, very much. Is that so? Your actions tell me. How much do you miss me? Can you feel it? I don't even have the strength to beg for mercy. Not enough? Don't. My voice is hoarse, I've lost my strength. Don't stop? All right. The fact that I was with Xander couldn't be hidden from the media, and I was soon exposed completely. Trending online, it's all voices cursing me, the sky is falling and the earth is collapsing, the strong partnership CP I shipped has shattered. What a flamboyant and shameless creature Daphne is, daring to be so bold. Our Una is both beautiful and fierce, and she won't tolerate this, right? Waiting for Una to tear the mistress apart. The last call grew louder, hanging on the headlines for an hour. Soon, the trending topic was taken down, as if nothing had happened. But it didn't matter, the goal I wanted to achieve had already been reached. Una came to me. I still underestimated you, returning to Xander's side so easily. She stirred her coffee absent-mindedly as she spoke. It's so hard to arrange a meeting with Una. I go through a lot of trouble just to see her once. I respond with a smile. You really think that staying by Xander's side means you've won? The trending topic was removed because he paid for it. You're just his secret lover. Xander must have brought up the matter of breaking off the engagement with you, otherwise you wouldn't have come to see me. I looked straight at her. A hint of embarrassment flashed in Una's eyes, but she quickly regained her composure. I advise you not to be too naive. Dreaming of climbing into a wealthy family with your insignificant tricks is just that, dreaming. Whether it's insignificant tricks or not, as long as they work, that's all that matters. I retorted with sarcasm. I think you're going down the wrong path. Even if you return to Xander's side, you can only be his mistress. Even if it's not you, someone else will come between me and Xander. It's just that I'm magnanimous, tolerating your presence by Xander's side. 10 million, is that enough? As long as you behave, I can turn a blind eye for the sake of our interests. Una pushed a card in front of me. I looked at her calmly, really thinking I was foolish, marrying Xander. What did I lack? I never do things I'm not sure about. Una's tone slowed down. In the hospital, the paralyzed man, who are you to me? I clenched my fist tightly, digging into my palm. It seems she has investigated my background thoroughly. Una curled her lips into a barely noticeable smile. Do you think Xander would feel about you wanting to make money off him to support another man? Una pushed the bank card in front of me, obediently complying, took the money, and disappeared. I picked up the bank card and put it in my bag, looked up at her, and smiled. Una, this money is what you should give. The man at the hospital is called Victor. Doesn't that sound familiar? Since you checked me, why didn't you look into his background? A smile froze. You all. Victor founded the company and competed with the Yu family for the project a year ago. The Yu family is powerful, but Victor's focus in this field gives him a better chance. In order to establish herself in the Yu family, Una urgently needs to prove her own strength. They tied up Victor, preventing him from participating in the project bidding meeting. When Victor was rescued, he was covered in injuries and unconscious. The doctor said that the patient's injuries were too severe, and he might lie in bed as a vegetable for the rest of his life. In these past few years, Victor, and Mia have lived together, simple and happy. If it weren't for Una, my life wouldn't have been disrupted. So, for you, there is absolutely no possibility of retreat. You approach Xander just to deal with me? Una's face looked very grim. Xander is a trump card, a weapon that can take everything from you. I got up, grabbed my bag, and prepared to leave. As I looked up, Xander. The tall figure of the man blocked my path. A pair of eyes as cold as a frigid pool sent chills through me. I didn't know when he had arrived, nor how much he had heard. Xander, let go of me. He's gripping my wrist, it hurts. Xander won't let go. When am I just a tool? Daphne, you have no sincerity at all. Una is so hateful, I must make her taste the bitterness of loss. Una asked to meet, clearly setting a trap for me. At this point, using Xander to suppress the Yu family is impossible. I turned to leave. Isn't that making Una lose? Xander looked at me, pleasing me. I help you. Me. Xander held a press conference and even brought out the contract he had signed with Una for their fake engagement. The contract states that the two are merely a publicly unmarried couple and will not interfere with each other's lives. As soon as the declaration was made, the crowd was in an uproar, quickly changing their tune to praise Xander's deep and affectionate persona, while secretly probing into my identity. The Yu family was already weak on the inside, and without the support of the G family, their stock price plummeted. Just then, news broke that the Yu family's project had been halted due to a broken funding chain. The Yu family collapsed in an instant. Una lost everything and placed all her resentment on me. At the street corner, a car came speeding and hit me by the roadside. Everything before me turned blood red, and my consciousness gradually faded. Later, the sound of a siren came rushing in, and I lost my senses. I am in a dream I do not wish to wake from, because it is my most beautiful memory. There is my grandfather, my daughter, and my lovely little granddaughter. Living simply yet fulfilling, relying on each other to protect little Mia. The cold wind howled outside, while warmth filled the room. The candle on the table flickered, illuminating Mia's rosy and excited little face. Grandpa, I have 3 wishes for your birthday, and I'll share one with you. Victor replied, thank you, Mia. Next time it's my birthday, I'll share one with you too. On the balcony, Victor handed me a bottle of wine, hesitating to speak. You seem a bit different tonight. Are you thinking of someone? Victor asked hesitantly. I shook my head, not thinking of anyone. Really? Victor clearly didn't believe me. Really, I was just thinking about the day Mia was born. I was really so foolish. The moment I turned my foot, you disappeared. My heart is still racing now. Victor exaggeratedly patted his chest and smiled at me. After laughing, Victor asked, will you still think of him? I knew he was asking who he was, and after a moment of silence, I shook my head. He is doing well now. This is true. I watched him appear in the financial headlines, becoming a formidable tycoon. And his fiancée, the daughter of a wealthy family, is both beautiful and stylish. A visually stunning pair, a strong alliance, a golden boy and a jade girl. On the screen, he has gentle eyes, and she gazes affectionately. The past has become the past, and we do not disturb each other, which is also good. After saying that, I added, mainly that I am doing well now. I am very content with how you treat both my mother and me, thank you, Dad. Victor and I clinked our glasses and drank it all in one go. The city's night curtain is dazzling and dreamlike. Happiness flows slowly through the mundane years, all the way to the end of life. I do not wish to wake up.